Salvete discipuli. How are you? Cuidagis. Hope you're doing well. Today's lesson is part 2 of chapter 10, and it is a beautiful sunny day outside. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're getting your work done so you can go outside and enjoy the spring sunshine. All right, today I've got some sentences on the board. We are going to review this brand new grammar concept that we have been starting here in chapter 10. You remember what grammar is, right? Do I hear anyone? Cody, did you say it? Yes, it's how a language works. Let's look at these sentences on the board. We are going to review verbals. Verbals. Do you remember what a verbal is? Did you write it down in your notes? All right, a verbal is a verb that acts like another part of speech, and there are 3 kinds of verbals. Number 1 is a gerund. A gerund is a verbal. It is a verb that acts like a noun. Participles, number 2, a participle, which is the Latin grammar concept that we're learning here in chapter 10. Participles are verbs that act like an adjective, a verb that acts like an adjective. And the third is the infinitive. The infinitive is what? We all know that, right? Carmine, do you know the answer? Correct. Infinitive is the word to plus a verb. To walk, to think, to talk, to write. All right, so an infinitive, to plus a verb. And all of these are verbs that are acting like another part of speech besides a verb. You remember the 8 parts of speech, right? Let's go over those. Every 5th grader should know all 8 parts of speech. What are they? Nouns and pronouns. Verbs, adverbs, adjectives, conjunctions, prepositions, and interjections. There's all 8. All right, so let's look at these sentences, and I wrote some sentences on the board that contain a verbal. So let's see if we can determine what they are. Number 1, the rapidly developing storm kept the boats in port. All right, let's get the prepositional phrases out of the way, and that would be in port. All right, no other prepositional phrases. Let's look for the verb. The verb, what is the action being done in this sentence? Okay, the action being done in this sentence is the word kept. Okay, let's look for the subject. Who or what kept? Okay, the storm kept. Storm is the subject, kept is the verb. The storm kept who or what? We're looking for the receiver. This is an action verb. Is there a receiver? The storm kept the boats. Exactly. Boats is the direct object. The, of course, is an adjective. In port is an adjective. Prep phrase describing, an adverb prep phrase describing where the storm kept the boats, in the port. All right, we've got these 3 words here. The, is an adjective. Developing, ing. Boy, that looks a whole lot like a verb, but there is no action being done by this word developing. The word developing describes which storm we're talking about. It's the developing storm. So this is a participle describing the word storm. Rapidly is part of it because it describes, oh boy, this is how our English grammar works. Participles act like adjectives, but if you have any words describing the participle, it's an adverb. So I know, it kind of blows your mind, but that's the way it works. So, rapidly developing describes the word storm, rapidly describes developing, and of course the is always an adjective. That makes that easy. All right, so do you see how in that sentence, the word developing, it could be used as it could be a verb, not in that sentence, but it could be a verb. Develop is definitely a verb. But in that sentence, it's used as an adjective describing which storm. Now, the next 2 are a little bit more of a setup like we've got in our book for the participles. Number 2, developing rapidly, the storm kept, and I didn't write out the whole sentence, so the storm kept the boats in port. All right, so here we've got our verb and our subject, and here is the participle in this sentence. You can move them around. All right. In this case, we've got it set off by a comma because it's really not necessary. Okay, developing rapidly, the storm kept the boats in port. So, adjective describing which storm, the one that's developing rapidly. Number 3, the storm, comma, developing rapidly, kept the boats in port. Okay, so here we put it after the word storm. Still is an adjective, still is describing storm, it's just in a different place in the sentence. All right, now I'm trying to make the videos quick and not as long. So if you need to back that up and replay that, maybe you should, okay? Like I said, this is an introduction to verbals. This is an advanced concept for you all, but since you're so smart and since you're not here, maybe you need something extra difficult to think on at home and kind of process. It's good for you. All right, so here we go. Number 4, good writing comes from much practice. Get your prepositional phrase out of the way. Ask yourself, what's the action being done? What's the verb of the sentence? What would that be? Natalie, do you know? That is correct. It is the word comes. Comes is the verb. All right, now, what comes from much practice? And that would be writing. Writing is the subject of the sentence. What kind of writing? Good writing. Good is just an adjective. So this is a gerund. It is a verb, writing. We all know that writing is a verb. We can do it. But in this sentence, it is not acting like a verb. It's acting like a noun, and it's the subject of the sentence. Therefore, it is a gerund. Gerunds always end in ing. Participles, sometimes they end in ing, sometimes they end in ed, or several other endings, but gerunds always end in ing, and they always act as nouns. They can be the subject, they can be the direct object, they can be an object of the preposition. Whatever a noun can do, a gerund can do. All right, so good writing comes from much practice. You would diagram it the same way. Well, not exactly, but I don't think you want to get into the diagramming, do you? Probably not. Number 5. His plan is to go to a Christian college. Do you know the prepositional phrase here? Be careful. Okay, a prepositional phrase is a preposition and its object. Okay, preposition and it ends at a noun. So is to go a prepositional phrase? Because there cannot be a verb in a prepositional phrase. To a Christian college is a prepositional phrase, and the verb of the sentence is. Plan is the subject. His, of course, is an adjective. The plan is to go to a Christian college. So there is an infinitive, and how it's acting in this sentence is called the predicate nominative. The predicate nominative, the noun after a linking verb, and it's renaming the subject. Okay, to go to a Christian college that's what the plan is. It's equal. Okay, so this is an infinitive. See that? To plus a verb, and it's acting like a noun. In this case, a predicate nominative. All right. There is your advanced grammar lesson for today. Let's look at your book. Open up your Minimus Secundus to page number 73, and let's look at the Latin root section. It'd be a good idea, really good idea, for you to listen to last week's video again on the first part of chapter 10. Chapter 10 and the story about Barates comes to buy. And if you don't want to listen to my monotonous voice, go ahead and just yourself go through each box, translate again. And here we go. Let's go through these Latin root section and here on page 73. It says use your Latin knowledge to explain the underlined word in each sentence, and we've done these in every chapter. Here we go, number 1. The secret agent was sent on a dangerous mission. The word mission is underlined, and that is a Latin root word from this story. If you look on the previous page, page 72, in the participle column, do you see that? It's at the bottom of the page, bottom middle of the page. We find the word missus. Missus is the Latin word for sent. It is a participle. It is a participle from the Latin verb mittere, which means to send. Okay, so how cool is that? The root word in mission is the Latin word send. And of course, we know a mission is something you're sent to do. All right, number 2, a teacher with a tidy desk. Now, there's a novelty. All right. Yes, I would agree. Teachers are usually pretty busy, and their desks tend to pile up with lots of papers and books. Here we go. Number 2, novelty. Look in the, it is not in this story. However, this is an adjective that we've had before, and the Latin root word of novelty, wait for it, maybe you can find it in your notes. It's the Latin adjective novus, N-O-V-U-S, which means new. Okay, so a novelty, something that's new, something that's unique. Okay, and so obviously, kind of a sarcastic sentence there. A teacher with a tidy desk, that's a novelty, and certainly it would be something very unique and new. Number 3, the Colosseum in Rome was the setting for many extraordinary spectacles. All right, we've had this word since 3rd grade. You ought to know what the root word in spectacle is, and what is that? Noah, do I hear you saying it? Yep, spectat. Spectat means, of course, watches, and a spectacle is something that is being watched. And certainly in the Colosseum, there were many people watching. Number 4, captured slaves were paraded through the streets of Rome. Crowds lined the streets to taunt and deride them. All right, now, we have had the root of this word before, like I said, since 3rd grade. This comes from the root, the Latin root, ridere, which means to smile or to laugh. Ridet, frate ridet, it's one of our picture cards. So that means to smile or to laugh. All right, so deridere means to mock or laugh at. So deride comes from the Latin root word deridere, which means to mock or to laugh at. And number 5, pupils are often given an induction day when they start a new school. All right, another interesting word, ducere. I've talked about this word before. Ducere, it's an infinitive that means to lead. Okay, we get the word duct from that word, D-U-C-T. We also get the word aqueduct, aqua, to lead water from one place to another, an aqueduct. And we get the word induction or introduction, which it comes from the Latin word inducere, which means to lead into. Okay, kind of another word for our word introduction, or induction, to lead into. And there you go, that's the Latin root section on page 73. If you'll turn the page, let's listen to the story, The Slave Girl Wanted.
Slave Girl Wanted. Lepidina is cross when she discovers that Flavius has sold Pandora.
Oh, she's upset.
Me,
She was her hairdresser, remember?
Ad mercatum festinare debemus.
Flavius et Lepidina quam celerrime exerunt. Flavius servus captavis vinctus videt. Lepidina ancillas in videt. Servi et ancillae edicta gerunt. Lepidina verba in edictis scripta legit.
Haec ancilla Hispanica est, optime saltat. Haec ancilla Graeca est, linguam Latinam scit. Ecce, haec ancilla Germanica est, perite coquit, et suaviter cantat, et...
Satis, ancilla Germanica mihi placet.
Flavius et Vena Ligius pretium constituunt. Ancilla Flavio tradita, timide ridet. Dom redeunt.
Candide, Corinthe, Rufe, haec est ancilla nova, haec trifusa est.
Ehem, vita melior est.
All right, that is all of chapter 10. Now, instead of making more time on the video, I'm going to cut the video off and be done with this for today. But on the homework, the lesson plans, I am going to put the translations for this story. So my challenge is to you to get your brain working and make yourself translate boxes 1 through 10 here on pages 74 and 75. Write it down or just do it orally. Explain to one of your siblings or your mom, whoever's helping you there. Look at this and watch them, have them watch you translate. Ooh, they'll be so impressed. All right, and then I'm going to, like I said, I'll put a document in the lesson plan, and it will have all of the correct translations for this story. All right, you also have in your packet, you had a chapter 10 worksheet. A chapter 10 worksheet. Let me show you. This is the chapter 10 worksheet. It's got some questions, some grammar questions at the top, sentences to translate, and then on the back, there was some matching, fill in the blank. All right, so that is your assignment for chapter 10. And this translating, so break it up a little bit. Maybe do the translating today and do the worksheet tomorrow. And anyone who homework drops the translation and homework drops a finished chapter 10 worksheet sometime in the next couple weeks, don't worry about having to do it today, but whenever you get it finished, have someone homework drop it into the Latin class. Make sure it gets into the Latin class. And anyone who does that gets an A+. And you've all been doing a great job with your distance learning, at least I assume so. And I hope you're having a great day. And I miss you, I miss having you in class and the fun times that we get to have and the review games and everything. And I'll see you next week again with chapter 11. Voila.